Hey everyone, I'm Manero here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to paint a colorful flower bouquet with pastels in Procreate. So let's jump right into it. In order to achieve this, I'm going to be using my Epic Pastels brush set for Procreate. You can find it along with a free mini version for you to try out on my Gumroad page through the link in the top right corner of this video or in the description below. I'm also going to be using this beautiful photo reference by Alexandra Sapashnikova. You can find a link to this picture in the description of this video as well, in case you want to follow along. The first thing I'm going to do is to import a couple of PNG textures from the ones that are included in this set. The first one is a paper texture, and I'm choosing the one called Cerulean. This color will work great as a starting point for my background, since it matches the reference pretty well. This layer needs to be placed at the bottom in the layers menu, and the blending mode needs to be left as normal, which is how it is by default. On top of this paper texture layer, we can have as many painting layers as we want during the whole process. I'm just adding a sketch layer and a painting layer for now. On top of all the other layers, I'm going to add a pastel texture sheet. In my case, I'm choosing the number 2. This layer needs to be set to overlay mode, and I'm going to hide it in the layers menu for now. This layer will add an extra touch of realistic pastel texture to my painting when I activate it again by the end of the process. Now, one of the most important things to have in mind when using this brush set is to paint only using the included color palettes. These palettes were created taking inspiration from the available colors in the most important and professional soft pastel brands, so limiting yourself to only using these colors will contribute a lot to how traditional and realistic your pastel painting looks. Using the messy sketcher brush, I started by sketching the main elements in my scene. First the vase, and then the small wooden table, having special care to get the perspective right for both objects. Then I sketched where the main masses of the flowers would be placed. Notice that I didn't really draw any details in the flowers, I only did some blobs representing their general volumes and sizes. At one point I also added the hanging ribbon as well. If you realize, I tend to do my whole sketch very zoomed out. I do it like this because it forces me to think in the general picture and not get tempted to detail too much. It's also perfectly valid to use the selection and transform tools to readjust different parts of your sketch until you feel happy. I switched to the clean cut scatter brush and painted the background with it on a layer below my sketch. This is my favorite brush from this set when it comes to covering large areas and using it with the smudge tool as well to blend some of those white strokes. The brush mimics painting with the side of a pastel stick at random angles, and it feels amazing. Then on a new layer between the background and my sketch, I started working on the main elements of this painting. Using a combination of the soft pastel medium and light brushes, and with a bit of the help from the clean cut scatter brush, my main focus at this stage was to paint the different general color spots in a loose and diffuse way. Notice that I'm not following the sketch boundaries at all, and I'm not even trying to cover everything. I'm letting the paper texture show up in some areas so that it becomes part of my painting. You can see some of that blue paper texture showing through the vase, which makes it feel like the material is reflecting the blue in the surroundings. In the ribbon area, leaving some of that paper texture show through also helps establish that this is a semi-translucent fabric. Now I'm merging the sketch layer with the painting layer because I want to start covering the lines in a way that by the end, these get integrated into the painting. I'm focusing now on painting the different flowers with big and messy strokes. I'm still not concerned at all on detailing until later, Right now, I'm just placing the main colors and shapes very roughly. Notice how by painting over the sketch lines, this will automatically start to blend with the new colors I'm introducing. By switching very sparely to the clean cut scatter brush, I can blend some edges away to make the colors bleed into each other, feeling more integrated. It is time to start adding some details, and for this the pastel pencil brush is great. It will allow us to paint details with more precision while retaining the characteristic pastel texture. I'm starting to better define some petals in the flowers and adding more details to the ribbon and to the wooden table. I'm also rendering the vase a bit more, but being careful to not fully cover the blue paper texture below. Adding highlights to the vase reinforces the idea that its surface is a bit more reflective than the other materials. Using the messy sketcher brush, I work on some finer details in the flowers while trying to keep things loose. If you notice, these details look very much like scribbles, but each of them is well thought so that the whole thing makes sense visually. I'm also using blue to define the negative space around the bouquet silhouette. Then I'm working on adding any missing sprouts, small flowers and missing details. For the last touch, I reactivate the pastel texture layer we added at the beginning. And this is the final result. I really hope you liked this video. If you use my brushes and post your art on social media, feel free to use the hashtag #ManeroBrushes so that I can see what you create. I will be extremely happy to share your creations with my audience. Don't forget to subscribe for more art-related videos and give me a thumbs up. Also, make sure to check out my Gumroad page, where you will find the Epic Pastels brush set for Procreate and many other sets and freebies that I have available. I'm sure something will suit your artistic needs. All the links are in the description below. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time.